There has been a lot of research showing that microplastics are present in our body. In each organ researchers have looked at, they found microplastic. We were the first to demonstrate that microplastics can reach the brain. I confess that I became a little bit worried about how easy or how is it possible for particles to enter our brains. The brain is supposed to be our most protected organ. My name is Thais Mauad. I am an associate professor at São Paulo University Medical School. When we first began to study plastics, we were interested in the amount of microplastic in the air of São Paulo and if it would be present in the lungs. We demonstrated that in our lungs, very small particles of microplastic are present. The waste management system in Brazil is still very precarious. Garbage and plastic contamination is very common in the cities. Along sidewalks, you see a lot of plastics. People eat food in plastic, in polyester, in foam. And of course, this leaches to soil, this leaches to water, evaporates to air, etc. There's a route that is called the inhalatory pathway, where particles potentially can enter the brain via the nose, small particles.
My name is Vitor Ribeiro Paes. I'm a neuropathologist from São Paulo, Brazil. I work here at São Paulo University Medical School. This is the olfactory bulb. It lies in the base of the skull and the top of the nasal cavity, and it goes from here backwards towards the brain cortex.
There's a connection between the nose and the brain via this cribriform plate that's this very tiny bone full of small holes where the axons that transmit the sense of smell goes to the brains. If you inject particles in the nose, they can reach the brain via this pathway.
Because microplastics are so tiny, they can go to the olfactory bulb, and from there they can go to the whole brain. So when we find something from the outside the skull inside the brain, such a thing like microplastics, we think, oh, maybe the brain is not so isolated from the outer world as we think.
Plastic takes part what they call climate injustice, I think, because poor people are more exposed to plastic than richer people. Not only to plastic, but also to additives. This is a question of education from people to understand that this is not good what they're doing, but it's also a question of possibilities. I think that this is a political question that who has the power to pressure the industry is our government, helped by the civil society, I think. At the Brazilian Center for Research in Energy Materials, we work day and night at this lab during 5 days, because we had to be sure that what we're looking at, indeed, it was plastic particles. The particles we found in the brain, the microplastic particles, they were mostly polypropylene, polyester, polyethylene. There are plastics very widely produced and present in packaging, in clothes, in our furniture. And this is very disturbing, knowing that in the environment we live, in the clothes we use, the food we eat, we are entering microplastics in our brains or in our bodies. The fact that the microplastics affect DNA structure, causing DNA damage, has several consequences.
We know many diseases in the brain that are getting more and more frequent, like Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, strokes.
We know that plastic production is increasing, so we'll be each time more exposed to particles. Plastics everywhere in our lives. It's surrounding, wherever you go, we are surrounded by plastic. And unfortunately, we cannot avoid inhaling the air we breathe. I am afraid of plastics because of this widespread contamination. I don't think we have to think only in us humans, but in also animals, considering what plastics is doing to all the sea life, for instance. In some years, there will be more plastic than animals in the sea, and there will be hundreds of millions of animals, marine animals, killed by plastic. And if you think this will not affect you, it's a delusion. I believe that in Europe, plastic will be banned sooner than in developing countries. And probably all the extra plastic will come to us. We are part of this climate injustice. It makes me angry because the duty of the government is to protect their people or protect their health. We don't have to lose this battle. We as scientists have to keep showing to governments and to the industry how toxic this substance is how badly it affects our body. That's why I urge you, the governments, including the government of my own country, Brazil, to make the right decisions during this treaty. You have to think to protect human health instead of making profit of fossil fuels.